Great practical joke, Jim. Got me go to the annex. No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Pain. Noun. Physical suffering or discomfort caused by illness or injury. Similar words include suffering, agony, torture, torment, etc. Example: a Zack Snyder film. When the first Rebel Moon movie came out, I was extremely conflicted on my enjoyment of the film, which was so incredibly bland and forgettable, and felt like a combination of 10 other movies that did the same idea but better. A part of that criticism came from how much the director, Zack Snyder, was hyping up the film, claiming that it was the next Star Wars, which actually kind of excited me, considering Star Wars has spent the last few years falling flat on its face, with multiple disappointing releases. So when Rebel Moon Part 1 was released, I expected something that would at least be entertaining, and instead got a movie so bland that I forgot it even came out. That is until the announcement of Part 2, which wasn't surprising considering the first film already had Part 1 in the title, but when the movie was announced, my and many others' response was a resounding, why should we care about a sequel to a bland, generic mess that nobody really liked in the first place? While I was incredibly bored by Part 1, Part 2 made me angry at times, which is not something that happens with movies I watch that often. Rebel Moon Part 2 is one of the most frustrating movies I have ever had the displeasure of viewing, so allow me to vent my anger as we dive into the annoying and confusing world of Rebel Moon Part 2. The film takes place shortly after the events of the first, with the main character, Korra, and her rebel group preparing for a brutal attack on her home planet by the evil forces of... Honestly, I don't remember what they're called, so I'm just going to call them the Empire. Through flashbacks, we are also told the long and confusing tale of a princess named Issa, who was definitely 100% murdered a long time ago, and Korra was framed for the killing of. "What do you mean you don't believe me?" cries Zack Snyder atop his massive pile of Netflix bucks. "Princess Issa totally died. Off screen. A long time ago." This movie is around 2 hours long, but feels like an eternity, which is mainly due to the film's borderline headache-inducing amount of slow motion. There's literally a scene in this movie where the rebels are harvesting wheat in slow motion, which goes on for a good 15 minutes of the movie and is seemingly only there to tamper with the movie's already obnoxious pacing. The characters aren't that much better, which is especially emphasized in a scene in which all the characters sit around a table and explain their backstories with accompanying flashbacks. And all of their backstories are virtually indistinguishable from each other. I will say the visuals are impressive and on par, if not better looking than a lot of theatrical movies, but I could say the same thing about Extraction 2, which is also on Netflix with theatrical quality visuals, but also has interesting characters, a gripping story, and an exciting action that doesn't rely on slow motion. The villain is also extremely one-note and overall doesn't have much of a presence, which is something the film's inspirations got right. When Darth Vader was on screen in Star Wars, you felt his presence and intimidating stature. When the new villain of Dune Part 2 is on screen, his presence instantly draws attention with his wild and dangerous aura. When this guy is on screen, you feel nothing as he blends into the background, which, no offense to the actor, who I feel did a fine job, is not what you want when having a villain who you want to be intimidating, which is what I feel Zack Snyder was going for, but didn't fully achieve in execution. This film somehow manages to be infuriating to watch, while also being the most boring movie I've seen in a good long while. In summary, Rebel Moon Part 2 is insufferable to watch, and even worse to talk about. For some strange reason, Zack Snyder has decided to put all of his eggs in this basket, because even after the poor reviews, there are now plans for 4 more Rebel Moon movies, and I honestly just don't get why, nor do I care to see more from this universe. And at this point, I think most people feel the same way when being provided with more of something they don't care for in the first place, which is a real shame, because Zack Snyder has shown before that he is a man with great talent, but now seemingly doesn't have the same spark that he used to. That's all I got for now. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I make a new video. The next review should be Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, so if you're interested in that, or interested in supporting the channel more, then turn on notifications and check out my other videos. Okay, that's it. Bye.